You return a book. It slips out of sight. From here, its journey continues through a system most people never see. So what happens next? In 2024, Singapore's libraries handle 38.8 million loans. About 60% were physical items, including books and other materials. To make that possible, books don't stay in one place. They move across branches, across neighborhoods, through a single system built to keep them circulating. Every morning, the system begins here, at the Library Supply Centre.
Hey, morning, Kak Aini.
Good morning.
Hey, how's the receiving this morning?
Okay, everything is fine.
Every new book enters the network here. Gareth supports the process of preparing new books before they reach the shelves.
The Library Supply Centre is a centralized hub. It is the first stop where all the books will be processed, catalogued, and tagged before they go out to our network of libraries across Singapore. This way, our branches no need to do processing, cataloguing, and tagging, and they can focus more on frontline services. We receive about 3,000 books on average per day from our suppliers. Once the book reach here, we will stock take the items and then we will bring them for barcode tagging. This barcode tagging acts like a birth certificate for our little books so that they are able to find their parents, which is the library, when we assign to them.
Next comes a spine label, the call number that tells people exactly where to find it.
Okay, thanks so much. All good, thanks.
And finally, a radio frequency identification or RFID tag. Today, every book has one. But there was a time when none did.
During the 70s, patrons will have to queue at our counters to borrow and return the books. It can take a long time. Later on, when we introduced the book drop system, patrons are able to return the books from the branch that they borrowed the books from. However, it will take up to 30 minutes before the books can be cancelled from their account before they borrow another set of books again. This is because our staff will have to carry the books to the back-end office to scan return and update in the system before our patrons are able to borrow a new set of books.
In 1998, that changed.
We introduced the radio frequency identification technology, or we call RFID in short, to monitor the movement of the books. We are the first library to do so, and it has brought about great convenience. We are able to allow self-checkout by the patrons, and borrows and returns are also done immediately, and also allows us to redeploy our staff for higher value work such as user education.
Processed, labeled, tagged, and on to the next stop. As borrowing sped up, the system had to scale. In the 2000s, a centralized sorting center was introduced.
Any new and returned books are scanned and sorted automatically into numbered boxes, and these numbered boxes represent a particular branch library.
As each book moves along the belt, its barcode is read instantly.
If a patron were to return the book to the wrong branch, our branch staff will have to dispatch the book to the correct original branch. With the introduction of our centralized sorting center, our branch staff no longer need to do that, and this saves time and resources.
On a typical day, between 8,000 and 11,000 books pass through this center.
On peak days, typically Sundays and Mondays, The sorting center handles about 18 to 20,000 books. This sorting process actually is done throughout the night and is completed at 6 a.m. in the morning.
From here, the books head back out to libraries across the island. One of them is Punggol, Singapore's largest.
I will need you to try and get this display looking really good so that our patrons will enjoy the view of all the collection that we have under Passport.
Here, Kavita and her team run the library day to day. Behind every borrow and return is the same system linking every library.
Patrons can borrow our books through the NLB mobile app and the borrowing stations, and once they are done, they can return it at any of our libraries through the book drop stations. So without the system, for the patrons, it would just be a very small quantity of books that they can borrow unless they travel to the other libraries.
And if the book you want isn't there,
with the reservation option, it will look for the first available book for that title and bring it over to the library that you want to borrow from. So for example, if I want Harry Potter, it's not available in Punggol. It will look for the item in any of the other libraries, but say all the items are borrowed out, it will wait for the first item that is returned at any of our libraries and it will be transferred over to Punggol.
the system continues to evolve. At selected libraries, including Punggol, a newer generation of RFID, known as UHF, is already in use.
So in the past, if you have the RFID tags and you place the items on the borrowing pad, at times it wouldn't detect all the items, but with the help of the UHF tags, you'll be able to borrow all the items at one go.
At Punggol, UHF also powers a borrowing station designed to support people with mobility needs.
And what we realize is some of the persons with disability, if they have mobility issues, they struggle with carrying the books and putting it into the bin. So what they can do is use the borrow and go tunnel. So they will wheel themselves in. The scanner would be able to scan and identify the books that they are having on them, and then it would borrow it and they can wheel themselves out.
Borrowing feels simple. Returning does too. The moment a book disappears into the book drop, most people don't give it another thought. But the system does.
Hi, Wen-Xiang.
Hello.
How is it today? Do we have a lot of returns?
Yes, we have a lot of returns.
Each returned book is sorted automatically by category, by destination.
Without the help of the auto sorter, the staff would take a longer time to sort out all the books, shelve them according to categories, and then send them back to the shelves, which also means our patrons will take a much longer time to retrieve the items that they are waiting for.
Dear readers, the library is now closed.
When the doors close, most people assume the day is done. It isn't.
When the library closes and everyone is out of the library, our shelf reading robot comes out. What the shelf reading robot helps us with would be to scan through all our books. They will generate the report and it will indicate which are the items that have been misshelved. So then in the morning when the library staff come in, they will retrieve these items and they will shelve them back in the correct location. Without the shelf reading robot, it would be quite tiring for them to check through every single item. During the day, sometimes the items may get reshelved or relocated. Sometimes people take in and put it at the wrong location. So that is why we have our staff and volunteers to continue shelf reading the shelves to ensure that the items are all at the correct location. With all the systems in place in our libraries, it has helped both our patrons and our staff in terms of time, accuracy, and convenience. So patrons are able to borrow and return with ease, And for our staff, they are able to get their work done a lot quicker and is less labor intensive.
From supply to shelf, books circulate across the island. Every return sends them back into the system. Automation handles the routing and sorting. Staff make sure they are where they should be. And when the library doors open, the shelves are ready.